Good morning. So I took a bet that this room would only be half full because I saw you last night outside. And so about, 30 minutes ago, we were like, they have to be out of bed by now in order to be here on time, and you did it. So congratulations. My name is Morgan Dixon. I am so honored to be here this morning, particularly on the 25th anniversary of an organization that I believe so deeply in. I think there's no better way to start this than to talk about innovation, particularly in the spirit of what Wendy Kopp did. She was bold, she was relentless, she practiced a level of grit that I've never seen before, and there are people in this room right now who are listening to me who will do the same thing, and 25 years from now, we will be celebrating you and the absolute change you've made in the world. And so I'm excited about that. And for the innovators who are in the room and the entrepreneurs, which might be you might not even know it yet, you might be so inspired by this that this is going to be your venture in 25 years. I want you guys to take a deep breath because this is the start of something really big. So for the 5 folks, where are you? You're over here? I know where you are. Let's just breathe a little bit. This is an important day for you, so let's just take a deep breath. Please breathe and enjoy it and be present because this is your time and you've earned it and you're here for a reason. And so we're going to start. Welcome to the Shark Tank. Again, first of all, I've already messed up. Something you should know. Someone said the clicker's on the table. All right. I know. Listen, this is comedic timing. Oh, no, it's not. Where's the nice guy who was helping me before? Got it. All right. And so we are at the Shark Tank today. And the idea is that we will bring 5 innovators today who will pitch in front of you. And the prize is serious. The prize is $10,000. It's serious. And you're going to be voting. So we need you to be on the edge of your seat. We need you to pay attention. We need you to invest Teach for America's money well in the future of all children. And so today we have 5 entrepreneurs who are going to try to win a prize of $10,000. With an event like this, we would really like to share with you where all this came from, where social innovation came from. Are you guys getting feedback? No? Okay, good. So at the 20th year anniversary, raise your hand if you were at the 20th year anniversary. You may remember something very much like this. There was a very first prize ever given, and it was $5,000, and it was given to a dear friend, Alejandro. Are you here, Alejandro? Maybe not. And with Springboard Collaborative, and he won, and he smashed it, and he is smashing it today. I mean, he's like it's a summer program, it's decreasing the amount of loss over the summer. He's unbelievable. So he won the first year, and then what happened was game-changing for me personally, and so I need to tell you this story. So the following year, Teach for America said, let's step it up, and let's create a social innovation award. And let's not give $5,000. Let's be game-changing. Let's give $100,000. And so I was like, well, how can I be down with $100,000? So what? Are we here with the presentation? Did the guy come up? No? Okay, great. And so here he comes. Thank you. So I was like, how can I be down with $100,000? The problem is that I didn't think my venture had anything to do with education reform. So some of you right now are sitting here and you're thinking, oh my God, this is great, but I'm actually distracted by what's happening in the world right now. I'm actually distracted by what's happening in Flint, Michigan. I'm really upset that the water has lead in it. I'm really upset what's happening on Wind River Reservation in Wyoming with the Native American community. Or I'm really upset. There's a long list of things. Or I watched the debates 2 nights ago, and I'm really upset about that. And that impacts my students in real ways. And so I was like you, where I was like, yeah, I served my 2 years in Teach for America, and I've gotten to this point, and I did a great job in the classroom, but my innovation is different. It's outside of the classroom. And so I was not going to apply to the Social Innovation Award. And one person from Teach for America, her name is Shala Gupta, and Vinit, are you here? Vinit, they called me. And they called Vanessa, my co-founder here, And they said, what you do around public health and neighborhoods is game-changing for students, and I want you to apply for this education reform prize. And we did, and we were shocked at the level of support that we got. And in 2012, we won the prize. And so that's why I'm here today. You want to just come up and fix it? No? Okay, it's not on.
It'll switch over from
Okay. All right, awesome. All right, and so I'm here today for that reason, and I tell you that story not to actually be self-promoting, but to tell you that I actually had a tremendous amount of doubt, and there's somebody in here that's gonna do something so important, and on February 15th, the Social Innovation Award is happening again. That means you have 9 days to put your idea on paper and apply. I'm actually trying to make eye contact with as many of you as possible, because I'm not kidding. And I'm pretty sure, Vanessa, that's how many days we prepared. So I'm saying you can do this. You have a bold idea, your ideas are important, and I would really, really encourage all of you to apply on February 15th. All right, so without further ado, I'd like to start today. And we're gonna start okay, oh, it's up now. By introducing our finalists. So today we have a woman named Tristan Galie, and she is bringing humor back to the classroom. We have someone named Colin Seal, who is doing something called Think Law, where he's bringing critical thinking back into the classroom. We have Karthic, who is doing something called One Jump. He'll tell you all about it, focusing on data. We have Jacob Allen with Pilot Ed Schools, and we have Candace Smith with Scholar Mecca. And I want you guys to understand that each of these candidates will have a 3-minute pitch, and then after their pitch, they're gonna have 4 minutes for the judges to ask them questions. And these questions are gonna be difficult questions. Pay attention to how they answer, because you will have an opportunity to vote for the innovator that you believe should win the $10,000 prize today. Now that we're talking about the judges, I would like to tell you a little bit about these sharks. When they told me who the sharks were, I was like, have all these people ever been in the same room at one time? And I'm not kidding you. I have been very lucky to have interactions with every one of these sharks. And I'll tell you, one of these sharks at one point, it was a room kind of like this. I was equally nervous. And I'd just given a presentation, and I got off the stage, and one of the sharks said, Morgan, I'm going to introduce you to Oprah's best friend. You have 60 seconds to make a pitch. Do not mess up. And then she just walked away, and then I had to follow her. I'm not going to tell you who she is because I don't want you to hound her. That's number one. Another shark is friends with Michelle Obama. The other one was Michelle Obama's boss. The other one owns an athletic team. Like, I'm not kidding you. These are like sharks, like sharks, like beasts. One of them owns 400 stores. I mean, this is not a joke. This is not lightweight. These are the people who have built careers to have the power to make things happen. I started trying to add up how many resources they control, how many dollars they control, and I actually couldn't add it up. I was like, okay, $40 million here, I think $380 million here, and then I got to like a black hole where there was one of them where they were like, we're not even gonna publish it, we're just basically making everything happen, right? So like, if you think about Teach for America was started in the organizations that are represented in the Shark Tank. Teach for All was started in the organizations that are represented in the Shark Tank. City Year, Year Up, Achievement First. These are the people who make dreams and innovation come to life, and they bring them to scale in ways that change things for our children. And so without further ado, I would like to do an introduction of the sharks today. Please give them a rousing applause as we do. First up, we have Stacy Childress. Please come up, Stacy. Oh, give me some love. Hi, how are you? Now, we know that Stacy is with the New Schools Venture Fund. We know what the New Schools Venture Fund does for all education reform. They are the muscle behind education reform, for sure. And she is the CEO of that. One of the things that actually touched me about Stacy is that I'll tell you where she got that muscle from. Stacy was a part in the 2nd grade, was in a school that was being desegregated. This is 18 years after Brown versus Board of Education. Stacy understands what education inequality looks like firsthand as a 2nd grader, and then went on to do all kinds of programs. And she did a program where she tried to match people who were impoverished with really powerful jobs, and their literacy levels were so low that they couldn't actually even apply for the jobs. And she was in. She said, I am changing the face of education in this country, and I'm all in. And so what did she do? She's running the largest philanthropic organization for education reform. Give it up for Stacy. Next, you're going to hear a lot from her today. The first time I met this woman, I sat in the back of a workshop just like this. And there was a woman who was sitting right in the middle, and she kept raising her hand, and she didn't care. She didn't care what the program said. She didn't care what the moderator said. She had questions, and she kept raising her hand. It wasn't a talk back. It wasn't a talk back. It wasn't a panel. She just kept raising her hand because she had questions, and she had a fire in her belly, and she believes in what Teach for America is doing. She sits on the national board for Teach for America. You may know her name because she started a small, tiny little company called Build-A-Bear Workshop that now has 400 stores across the country internationally. She's a beast. Welcome her. Her name is Maxine Clark. Maxine, I love you dearly. Thanks, buddy. Okay. So the next shark is a woman who is near and dear to my heart, for sure. She runs an organization called Echoing Green. I recommend you check it out. So here's the pathway. You'll be up here next year pitching, and then you're going to apply February 15th. Yeah. Yeah? So you're going to apply February 15th, you're going to win that, you're going to apply to Echoing Green, you're going to win that, you're going to keep moving on, you're going to do maybe you're just going to go through the ladder, and all of these people are going to be important, so write down their names. One of them that's important is Cheryl Dorsey. She runs an organization called Echoing Green. Echoing Green prides itself on selecting the top 1% of global innovators in the world. That's more selective than Harvard. These are people like Wendy Kopp. These are people like Michelle Obama. These are people who oh my God, I'm going to call him Van Hunt. Why do I always call him Van Hunt? Van Jones. Van Hunt is the R&B singer. All right, so Van Hunt, Van Jones, who you guys know and see on CNN, is a game changer in both prison reform and all kinds of things. He's everywhere, and he's doing all kinds of amazing stuff. Echoing Green is responsible for that. Cheryl Dorsey is the CEO of that, and I would just like to welcome Cheryl Dorsey. Thank you for all you do. So great. All right. Oh, if that were not enough. Next we have the owner of the Oakland A's. That's the byline. This man is responsible for me standing here today. He's one of the people who helped to underwrite the Social Innovation Award in deep ways and important ways, and was a judge the first year, and actually was a judge that gave Vanessa and I some hope, because the judges were really hard and they were asking really hard questions. And when we got in with John Fisher was nodding. He was like, that's so good. He was like, that's so good. How you gonna do that? He was like, that's so good. And he was so supportive and warm. And then I realized who he was after. I was like, are you kidding me? John Fisher is maybe one of the largest investors in education reform, and the charter school movement particularly comes from a long line of philanthropists, and I'm just very grateful to have you here today and for all the work you do. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And in case you thought this was enough right here, I'm going to bring out, what is the starting five? I'm going to bring out number 5. What are you, shooting guard? This woman, I know I say beast, but I'm not kidding. She's just a beast. She just runs stuff. So she won Echoing Green herself. That's, top 1% in the world. So she did that. She did Public Allies, She worked with Michelle Obama, her boss, all that. Right now, what she did is she realized that, okay, once you apply on February 15th and you get in and you get your startup capital, and maybe you're lucky enough to win Echoing Green, you get that, then what happens? That somebody better be rallying venture capitalists around the world, to pour resources into startups like Achievement First or Teach for All, so that it can not only just be kind of a drop in the bucket, but can change the game. And so Vanessa said, I need to create something called New Profit that does just that. So it's a mystery how much money they're giving to the world. And I would just encourage you to try to find the figure and send it to me, because it's unbelievable how game-changing this is. Every large organization you can think of has touched this portfolio or has come through this portfolio in some way. And I'm just very grateful for the leadership and the vision of Vanessa Kirsch. Today. And now it's time for the work, our finalists. Are you ready to get started? Are you guys nervous over there? Send them some energy, bring them some love. All right, so we encourage you to get out your phones right now. And the hashtag is TFA25. And as you see their slides up on the board, that you give them some love on Twitter. I mean, come on, you can raise their Twitter followers by like 19 if 19 of you follow me, or follow my instructions. So please give them all some love, and let's tell the world what's going on here today. And so here, and connect with them so that you can give them even feedback. This is just the beginning, and they want to hear from you. And so without further ado, let's bring up our first finalist. You ready for this? You got this, sister. And her name is Tristan Galie.
All right, class, do now. Take out your cell phones. For real, let's go. Take out your cell phones, open to notes. Good. I'd like a full write-up on a hero's journey. Let's focus on Pony Boy in The Outsiders, chapters 7 through 14. Why aren't you writing? Raise your hand right now if you're struggling to feel creative or inspired, and not because of last night. I see one hand. Okay, 2 hands. Come on, guys. Be better than your students. Thank you. All right. We do this to our kids every day. We ask them to write in every single subject cold, sitting in a seat, talking to no one. So I'm Tristan, founder of Humor Writes. We use improv comedy to teach creative writing. So let's take a Humor Writes approach right now. Sit, feet on the ground, back upright. So these cross legs, thank you, thank you. Inhale through your nose, exhale out through your mouth. I needed that. In your hands, you're holding some clay. All right, I've just commissioned you. You're all sculptors. I need a suggestion from the audience, something you'd find in your refrigerator. More, give me more. Okay, excellent, thank you. Somewhere out there, I heard bacon. So, well, maybe that's just what I'm hungry for. So go ahead and with your clay, start to build some bacon. Whatever that looks like to you. Let's go, start moving. Thank you. So how big is the bacon? What does it look like? Where is it from? Is it cooked? Is it not cooked? Okay, now turn to the person next to you and make eye contact. Pass them your bacon. Oh, you're laughing. That's interesting. Good, now come back, face me, eat the bacon. Oh, excellent, good. So that's what we do in 8 Title I schools throughout Arizona. 5 days a week. We work with Title I, Title III, and 21st century grants with a fee-per-service model. Our method, laugh, learn, perform. So laugh, just as you experienced, we use improv comedy as a kinetic brainstorm. It allows children to trust themselves and trust each other. And it allows them to play, which is what they should do anyway. And then learn, inspired by the 6 traits of writing and aligned to the SAT writing rubric, we have a curriculum that's rigorous and data-driven. And then perform, so not only in outputs in class, not only on state tests, but at an end of semester improv festival, where 200 kids will come together and showcase everything they've learned. The MC that day will be a student that won an essay contest. So here's the best part, it's working. In our pilot, we found that the students we worked with outperformed their peers by 40% on the NWEA assessment. And that's just in 6 weeks. And then outside of academics, we use the Rosenberg self-esteem assessment to gauge how they view not only themselves, but school, everything. And it went up by 20 points. So why humor, right? It's not serious. It seems the opposite of what we've been taught. But humor doesn't discriminate. Doesn't know age, doesn't know race, doesn't know privilege. It's not a barrier at all. Kids actually get to connect with one another before they even realize they're learning. So I'd like to end today the same way we would end in our classes. I'd like everybody to stand up. We finish class with a compliment. So the kids turn to one another, they make eye contact, and they tell them something that they saw, they witnessed, a risk that they took. They acknowledge each other. And so I'd like to acknowledge all of you. Thank you for coming out today. You are beautiful, inside and out, and I'm so thankful for the work you're doing. And to you guys, same. Now turn to the person next to you. Give them a compliment. I'm Tristan. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You're right there. Great job. All right, as you have your seat, some of you are tweeting, that's great. Tristan just said she dropped the mic. She dropped a mic on you. And so we're going to start with 4 minutes of question and answer led by Cheryl Dorsey.
Tristan, congratulations. That was a great presentation.
Thank you
for that. Innovation is one of the criteria against which we're scoring you guys. Is this better? Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. Innovation is one of the criteria against which we'll be scoring you, Tristan. And as a tool for social change, to envision and execute on innovation can lead to dramatic improvements in social outcomes. Explain your innovation thesis. Why is human rights really an innovative approach compared to so many other activities out in the ecosystem?
Okay, thank you. To me, innovation is disrupting what we know to be learning, right? So it's taking a wheel and recreating it in a new way that's more accessible to more people. And to me, humor is very accessible and to everybody. And so I believe the way we approach innovation is we're using a different filter for education, and that filter is comedy. It has been, it's a business model for Second City, it's a business model for SNL. They have been doing it for tons and tons of years. But usually if you look at comedy, it's people like me who are white and from middle or upper class. And it doesn't often make it to the low-income communities that we work with Teach for America. And so I think innovation is also taking something and bringing it to a bigger population than it has formerly gone to, and making it accessible.
Great, thank you. Anybody else question?
I have a question.
Yeah?
Great job. It was one of my favorites, I have to say, because I had teachers that were funny and they always made the class more fun. But I've met a lot of teachers that could not do this. So I don't think even in their wildest imagination. So how do we train, this is the one part for me that was, how do we train them to be good at this? Because this is something that could be applied in multiple subject matters to make it more interesting and thoughtful, even as an opener or a closer to
or
a
brain
class.
break, yeah.
Yes.
The teachers you're referencing, we call those dad jokes, the ones that just don't hit. We all know that, Dad? Yeah. So the way that I approach the training and the developing of our teachers is very similar to Teach for America. So hitting a single market, finding the resources there. We work with either people who have creative writing backgrounds or people that are professional comedians. They go through a rigorous training, the same way that I went through a Teach for America training, and then my mic stops. And then ultimately saturate that market, and then we'll start to expand. I, right now, kind of back in the day when there was PDs, I take the role of kind of a PD right now. So I go in and I do observations to make sure that there is an experience, no matter who the teacher is, in the classroom. So it's one part training, and it's one part execution, and it's just making sure that we're really rigorous with both sides of that, the same way that Teach for America has done.
We have time for one more question.
Great job, Tristan. I'm curious when you think about scale, which I know it's a
yeah.
little early innings to be doing that, but what's the world going to look like, and what role are you going to play? Are you going to be a best practice, and other people are going to spread it? How are you thinking about scaling this model?
Train the trainer, to be like surgeon quick with the answer. I think, so I feel like when it comes to scale, our approach is going to be slow and steady wins the race, and really take our time to build a foundation that is replicable. I've been calling it the Chipotle model. So something clean and easy, and then you would scale upon that. I don't have all the answers necessarily for what scale looks like, but I think as far as we have a curriculum right now, and it's just providing the training and the structure to support that for growth. Also, we kind of have a three-tier model. So right now we're in middle schools because that's what I taught and that's what I knew, or know still. We're going to expand into high school, which would be more of a nonfiction focus, resume, college, maybe reviews on restaurants. And then ultimately, the kids that win the improv festival for high school would get college scholarship money. So I think part of scale for us is not just like, how do you saturate a market, but how do you grow for young to old?
Yeah, it sounds like going deep is a big
Right.
part of your strategy. Awesome, thanks.
Thank you so much, Tristan. You've done a great job. Make sure you give her some love on social media. Next, coming to the stage, we have Colin Seal of Think Law. Colin.
I'd like to talk to you about Ramel, one of the sharpest young men I met in 5 years of teaching. And when I saw him tackle this one problem, I watched as he drilled down to the root cause of the issue and saw so many sides of it and had some really creative ideas to solve this problem. But here's the thing, Ramel was not a student in my classroom. And his problem wasn't in math or English. Ramel was my client in my law school's juvenile justice clinic. And his problem was trying to figure out how to avoid being charged as an adult after his arrest on very serious drug charges just 1 month before his 18th birthday. You see, Ramel had critical thinking skills, like so many of our kids that need that just to survive, but critical thinking requires so much more than just skills. You need the mindset, you need the habits that allow you to consistently apply these skills throughout life, career, and academics. Yet, when I listened to over 300 educators who know how important this is, I learned that critical thinking is still a luxury good. Only 1 of 10 educators teach it, and that educator usually teaches in an elite school or only teaches it to elite students. This means that the vast majority of students like Ramel, like students that come to school every single day eager to learn, do not get this. But what if there was a way to change this and teach critical thinking to all students? This made me think about law school, where I didn't learn the law, I learned to think like a lawyer, and thinking like a lawyer is critical thinking. Look at history. 25 past presidents, 35 of our founding fathers, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, all attorneys trained extensively in critical thinking. How? Well, we learned to ask the right questions to get information we need. We learned to make a variety of different claims and support those claims with valid and relevant evidence. In fact, we learned the same exact skills, mindsets, and habits our students need. So shouldn't we teach all students to think this way? Of course we should. And this is why Think Law exists. We help educators use real-life legal cases to teach critical thinking. Think Law's 25-lesson Common Core Line program consists of teacher's guides, student workbooks, and virtual coaching, all designed to help teachers implement this program in under 20 minutes of prep time. In just 6 months, we scaled to over 1,000 students in 14 different schools because this is the kind of learning students are hungry for, especially in the Title I schools that Think Law targets. And teachers live for those moments where students are doing all the heavy lifting. So we're gonna be in 200 schools by the end of 2016 because students like my Ramel and whoever the Ramels are in your classrooms, they need to feel that power, that excitement that comes when they realize their critical thinking potential. This must be taught to all students. So Think Law, we're gonna transcend race, transcend poverty, so that this is no longer a luxury good. Thank you.
All right, Colin, we're going to take 4 minutes of questions, and I'm going to ask Maxine, will you just start us?
Yes, Colin, great job. I'd always wanted to be a lawyer, but if I had a teacher like you, I probably would have been one. So really great, fantastic presentation. One of the things that I was trying to understand, is this something that's taught as a separate course or part of social studies or civics or government, or is it an after school activity, or can be applied to English, science, any other subject matter? How do you see it fitting in a school day?
So that's a great question. We all have this thing, right, where we know students that have this mindset of I can't, or this mindset of I don't know. And how that plays out in a very practical way is they're taking a standardized test, and it's a short answer in the box, and they leave it blank, right? We're giving every teacher the ability. We have social studies teachers, STEM teachers, English teachers from grades 5 through 12 to push kids through that. And they're doing this program in their own classrooms. Some teachers are using it once a week, every Friday. Some teachers decide to kind of, bring it in as a tool that they use to start out their whole semester. It's a very flexible tool, and it's designed to be that way on purpose so that it really does fit into what the teacher is actually doing in the classroom.
Great. Hi, Colin. Stacy Childress. Sounds terrific, and I love your ambition to go from 14 schools to 200 very quickly. How does that happen? How do I find out about you if I'm a teacher or a school leader?
Okay, so one of the things that we have done from the very beginning was plan this as something that can be scalable. Our coaching that we deliver, even in Las Vegas, is virtual. It's a virtual coaching model. And by building our online community of people that are using ThinkLaw through this virtual model, it becomes actually really easy to deliver the actual program. And when we talk about how we're going to get to the point where we get to 200 schools by the end of the year, I want to point something out to you. The 14 schools that we're in right now, June to November, after schools have already decided their budget for the year. School leaders said no to something else they already planned for, to say yes to ThinkLaw. And because of the urgent need to teach critical thinking, because of the teacher pipeline issues we know we have right now, in Las Vegas, we still have 800 long-term subs in our classrooms in February. ThinkLaw is needed right now. And we're going to get to 200 schools through really using the strategy of making people understand how easy it is to deliver this model.
Thank you.
Sure. Colin, I think this is great. My grandfather was a lawyer, and he wanted all of his grandchildren to go to law school because he thought it was a great way to train to learn how to think. None of us did. None of us were smart enough. But I think it's a terrific thing. I guess I would ask, in the context of all the other curriculum things that are out there, why is this any better or different than anything that other people can grab onto?
Great question. So a lot of times when we think about anything around the area of like legal related education, we think about a program like mock trial. But who does mock trial? The most enthusiastic kids, right? The most eager students. ThinkLaw really isn't about the law as much as it is about critical thinking. And we're using the law as a hook. Why? Because our students have an inherent sense of fairness and justice. They feel powerful when they do ThinkLaw. They feel excitement when they're doing ThinkLaw. So we're actually using this as a tool to give kids very rigorous critical thinking instruction without them even realizing what's going on. And that's really the magic of this thing.
Yep. I think do we have time for one question? Does anybody? One last question.
One more question. You are so incredibly passionate and effective, so great
I've been
job.
told.
And I'm curious how you think about complementing your skills when you build out your team. What are you looking for? Who's doing the sort of, behind the scenes work?
So one of the things we were able to do was bring on a chief relationship officer who's a recently retired district superintendent. And what she can do that I currently do not have the capacity to do is solve that puzzle of what it looks like to implement this across a district. And that's really what we need. And that's a really big part, going back to your question about the 200 schools, of why I feel confident that it's going to happen by the end of this year.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Colin. Remember, hashtag Teach for America 25, or TFA 25. Please give all of these entrepreneurs love on social media. It really makes a difference for them. Next up, we have Candace Smith with Scholar Mecca. Welcome, Candace.
Hi. Working? Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Candace Smith, founder of Scholar Mecca, and I'm going to tell you a true story about a student named Eddie, a 7th grader from Phoenix, Arizona. Every day, Eddie came into his math class, sat in the back, and struggled to focus. He was failing. And although I can't say for sure what was going on in the back of his mind as he sat there, I do know it sounded a little something like this. I am so lost in this class. I have no idea what's going on, and I don't think I'm very good at math. See, for Eddie, His learning gaps may have kept him from understanding what was on the board, but it was that lack of confidence in his ability to learn math that was just as devastating for him. Luckily for Eddie, his teachers and administration understood that he needed the extra help, so they partnered with Scholar Mecca, and Eddie became one of the first students in our pilot program. What is Scholar Mecca? We are the first intervention service to target learning gaps while also raising student confidence in the long term. And we do it all on the computer, matching small groups of struggling students to really talented teachers across the country. So Eddie and 4 of his classmates were paired with one of our virtual instructors in Philadelphia. And they started a 10-week program where they worked online in 45-minute sessions using personalized videos and practice questions. Now, because our lessons take place on the computer, Eddie's virtual instructor could see the exact moment when Eddie made a mistake and give him instant feedback. Eddie used that instant feedback to correct his question and then was able to avoid that same mistake in the future. At the end of every lesson, he reflected on his progress, and we shared those progress reports with administrators and teachers. Now, Eddie started the Scholar Mecca program with a 50% average on his state standardized assessments, and frankly, he was a little hesitant and doubtful that he would ever make progress, which is why I was so excited, and I will never forget the amazement and pride in Eddie's voice when we told him that he had actually scored 100% on his final unit assessment. Eddie no longer sits in the back of his math class. He is excelling in math and has gained the confidence to ask clarifying questions that he never would have asked before. And this is all because his mindset about his ability to learn has changed. Results like Eddie's are exactly why we created the Scholar Mecca program. Our 2 pilot schools have already seen and benefited from this system, and this is why they are committed to continue working with us. Our vision is to bring the Scholar Mecca program to 1,000 schools by the year 2020. Think about your students like Eddie. Don't let the only resources that you have available to them be the ones that are within your walls. Connect with Scholar Mecca. Thank you.
All right, so we'll take 4 minutes of questions. John, will you get us started?
Great. Sure. So Candace, I love the fact that you're delivering this through, through a technology platform that allows you to grow and reach a lot more kids quickly. I guess I don't quite understand sort of the difference between this and many of the other online tutoring programs that are out there, and maybe you could just differentiate them.
Absolutely. So there are a number of things that differentiate us from other competitors out there because there are a lot of intervention programs, online interventions, in-school interventions, and one of the things that we have that many of these intervention programs don't have because they're technology-based or they have online tutors, we have experienced educators. So our educators are they have experience in the classroom before, so we make sure that our educators are coming to us with a knowledge of student gaps and how to address them. And we also focus on confidence building because we don't want this program to just be a Band-Aid that students take the program and then they're done and they're out of it and they go on to the next class and then the same learning gaps start up again. We want to give our students long-term strategies and productive mindsets that they can bring with them even after they're done with the program. So for students like Eddie, who's still excelling in math class now, I'm not working with Eddie anymore, and our virtual instructor in Philadelphia is not working with him anymore, but he has a productive mindset now. He knows how to ask those clarifying questions that he was too shy or too hesitant to ask about before. So we really want to not just target those learning gaps for students, which we do by working with administrators and aligning our curriculum to what the school needs, but we also want to give our students tools that they can use after they're done with the program.
Candace, a great presentation, thank you. As an early stage social entrepreneur, passion and purpose are 2 of the most important tools you have to sort of move forward your enterprise. Can you just share with us, why do you do what you do? Why this?
Sure, I'll try to keep it short because I can get on my soapbox about this. There are 2 reasons really for me. It's both personal and professional. And my own background, I grew up mixed race Latina and I suffered from a lot of just identity crisis about who I was. I felt a lot of imposter syndrome around the fact that when you look at me, I don't necessarily scream Puerto Rican, right? And I faced that sort of discrimination from my family. And so I became very interested in the idea of identity development, and specifically confidence as it was linked to identity development. And so when I was in college, I started to do a lot of research around identity development, confidence, education, and how that plays a big role. And I saw a lot of confidence gaps as well as skill gaps in the classroom when I moved to Phoenix and became a Teach for America core member. And I wanted to create some sort of program where I not only could address my students' skill gaps, but I could also help them raise their confidence in the long term, because it's that confidence, that belief in yourself, that helps you when you encounter adversity, as our students will ultimately end up doing at multiple stages of their lives.
Can I dive in here for 1 second?
Thank you. We have time for one quick question.
Sorry,
Yeah.
but I think it's a great model. I am curious, how does it work for kids who actually discover they have special needs, learning and attention issues, other needs? Are you directing them to special ed or anything like that along the way?
So that's a great question. Right now, because we're at a small scale and we're working so closely with schools, we are asking schools to reference the students that they want us to work with first. And we're generally working with tier 2 students. So our students, like Eddie's group, started at a 56% average in their math class. And so their teachers volunteered them. Now, when we're working with students, we do have the opportunity, because of the small group instruction, to identify whether or not students have those extra special needs. And we are in constant communication and collaboration with schools. So if we ever do get a flag on something, we are letting the school know, we're letting the monitor know, we're letting the administration know that students might have those extra needs. So the fact that we have that small group instruction allows us to identify those additional needs and provide more personalized feedback if necessary.
Great, thank you.
Let's please
Thank
give
you.
it up for Candace. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we have 2 more innovators to come on the stage before we send the judges off to deliberate and before you get the opportunity to judge. And so our next innovator will be Karthic Sura.
If you push yourself and work hard, then you too can make your American dream come alive. Well, at least that's what we tell ourselves, and that's what we tell the students we teach. But deep in our hearts, we know it's not quite true. We know it's not quite true because that American dream requires 3 things: inspiration, perspiration, and opportunity. And we can teach our kids to dream, we can persuade them to work hard, but how do we connect them to the same opportunities as their higher income peers? You all have had that student. I know you have. The one who comes in early, works diligently, and honestly on those days you're just like, why am I here? They're the reason you teach. Mine was Jorge Garcia. Jorge passed AP Chemistry, passed AP Physics, number 3 in his class, brilliant student. But he didn't really think that college was possible. So by chance I got an email from a nonprofit that told me about a summer opportunity at Cornell. We connected Jorge, he applied, and he got to build a solar-powered house for 1 week on Cornell's campus. Now, he's at the University of Rochester with a full scholarship studying mechanical engineering. He will be the first in his family to both graduate from high school and college. Now, I know that each of you has your own student like Jorge, and while the playing field for our students is definitely far from equal, one of the biggest gaps they face is an information gap. Our students don't know that MIT has a summer camp for underserved students working and interested in engineering, free of charge. Our students don't know that Georgetown has a law camp for Latino students with financial aid. Our students don't know that there are tens of thousands of enrichment opportunities available for them across the country, sponsored by companies, nonprofits, and colleges. And that's why we created OneJump. OneJump is a web platform that allows students to search and peruse the opportunities that fit their passions. Students create an account, and they can favorite the opportunities that match their interests. They can get then text message and SMS notifications that remind them of deadlines. OneJump makes it possible for students to search for, filter, find, apply, and fund enrichment opportunities. In order to do this, we're partnering with a lot of different organizations across the United States. In particular, we're focusing with college access organizations and school districts who want to use our dashboard feature to track students that are applying. Additionally, corporations and colleges can use OneJump's portal, because they're interested in recruiting our students, to notify and work with them. Right now, we're working within Houston, but we aim to scale OneJump across the United States, specifically to connect with students from Michigan to Massachusetts to Mississippi. Specifically, we're focused on the over 15 million low-income students who make up over 40% of the United States. So why now, you may ask? Why OneJump? Well, the gap between the rich and the poor in America has never been greater, and right now, basically a college degree is almost a requisite for a job. We talk about this American dream where if you come here and work hard, you can make that dream come alive. So help us make that American dream come alive for our students. Help us make a change in the statistics. Help OneJump make the story of Jorge Garcia the norm and not the exception.
All right, so we'll take 4 minutes of questions, starting with Vanessa
Awesome.
Kirsch.
Thank you, Karthic. It's a great idea and a huge need. We fund a whole group of college access programs who are always looking for those students, so huge need. I'd like to know more about the business model. In particular, are you curating this? Is this providing data back to the field on which programs are most effective, which are changing lives better? It seems like one of our biggest challenges in the sector is using data, and you have an opportunity to have a real data platform. So could you talk a bit more about that?
Yes, so I think that when we look at like the 21st century, we use machine learning all the time, right? Like computing and like almost artificial intelligence to sort data. And we can use Netflix to recommend opportunities, like, oh, you should watch this film, or BuzzFeed to find the next list of stuff that we should sort through. And, and specifically in terms of underserved students, no one has really tried to take that kind of machine learning and apply it to underserved students and communities. So we can use a crawler, find every single opportunity that's available all across the United States and have our students apply for that. And then I think once we get more data from what students are interested and passionate about, we can also partner with the researchers who can evaluate those opportunities. And then if we see, oh, more students are interested in this one, more students have said that this one's good, we can sort of self-sort and create an almost competitive marketplace where the better funded nonprofits, like the ones you see right here, are the ones that get the funds stored towards them.
Great, thank you.
Karthic, do you think it's possible to actually do this in the really machine-driven way you're talking about with high quality? So it definitely able to, well, I don't know how to do it, but it sounds like you do. Know how to create something that can crawl and source all of these opportunities. But do you think you have to build out a function in your organization that also builds relationships with high quality programs so that you know something about, other than just say ratings and rankings that come out, so that you as an organization have some point of view about opportunities that might be better than others, at least in your early years, so that kids aren't kind of blowing the summer opportunity, this amazing opportunity they will have that they may not have otherwise had on something that may be, you know, kind of subpar relative to what they could have done. Because I think this is a real power of what you're creating, is the access to these summer programs that normally are kind of locked out because of the, you know, walls of privilege. So how do you think about that?
I like that, locked out because of walls of privilege. I'm going to use that in the future.
All yours. All
So
yours.
I absolutely agree. I think that one of the biggest things that we have to do is use curation, and that's why we're partnering with organizations such as like Impact Lab or Merge Fellowship, et cetera, and like a lot of different charter schools that we're working with in Houston, up to like 30, who can basically say, hey, we like this program, you should add it. And so right now we're just focusing on sort of ourselves, identifying the ones that we think would be the most effective. But then once we have enough reviews, we can almost become like Yelp, right? The students themselves give feedback.
Yeah.
And yes, some people will probably have statistically some bad experiences, but in the aggregate, more students will have better experiences.
Yeah, my point is you have to be really big
Yes.
for that kind of data to really have those rise to the top.
Yes. And so right now we're looking at the opportunities that are there and seeing ones that are similar to them and so we can get that.
Great, thank you.
Karthic, great process innovation. Can you talk about your product design team? Where are you with the web platform?
Yeah, so right now, if you want to go to onejump.org, you can log in, create a user account, and get text messages, SMSs. We have over 1,500 opportunities right there. We're working with a web developer right now who's helping us build out additional features, and we're beta testing with over 30 schools in the greater Houston area, like IDEA, Yes Prep, KIPP Houston, et cetera. And so we're just trying to get feedback based off of that to sort of launch to connect to the overall US.
When I first read your proposal, I really loved it because what I saw was a consumer product, and I'm a consumer products person. And I think that the big opportunity is putting this in the hands of the students and their parents. We did a similar thing, and I'll give you information about that in St. Louis, where we have thousands of summer programs, mostly local, but we have opened up a tremendous world just right in our hometown by creating this incredible search opportunity for parents. But we marketed it. We put it in the hands, we did everything you could possibly think of, billboards and advertising, and it's working. How are you looking at reaching the parents who really want these opportunities for their children, but they don't even know where to look, so that they're pushing their kids, they're activating their children towards these opportunities?
Yeah, and to be completely honest, I think that right now we've been focused more on like a sort of a school system incentive base, like focusing through like charters that are interested in partnering with us, college access organizations, and just sort of students themselves. I think that we could build a lot more in terms of like parent interaction, which is why I think we need strategic partners in terms of that. Right now we're A/B and testing different approaches at different schools. Like some of them are going to have student reps, and then we'll see if students themselves can be better advocates for using the platform or using college access counselors alone, and we're going to build those out and see which ones have the highest rates of I guess, user connectivity.
So thank you so much, Karthic. Give him a round of applause. For Karthic and one jump in the American dream. Good job. Let's do it. And last, but certainly not least, let's keep the energy up for Jacob Allen with Pilot Ed. Welcome, Jacob.
It's freezing in here, by the way. I was like doing this over on the side. Don't take my time. My name is Jacob Allen. I'm the co-founder of Pilot Ed Schools. My co-founder, Marie Dandy, is in the front here. We founded Pilot Ed Schools, an emerging identity-based middle school network on the south side of Chicago. And a lot of people in this audience probably lost you when I said the words identity-based. And I can stand up here and I can define identity for you, or I can go ahead and try to paint you a picture and let you describe or find out what it is it's yourself. So follow me for 1 second. Your name is Kimon. You're 13 years old. You live on the south side of Chicago. You are struggling both financially as a family unit and also in your school. And your old school closed down because of budget cuts and poor scores, but the second school that you're attending isn't really doing much better. Every time you go home, get on Facebook, turn on the news, you see words like poverty, you see words like thug, police brutality, describing you, describing your family, and describing your community. So you kind of adopt that. I mean, think about it. Where are you supposed to find a sense of strength, find a sense of a healthy identity? And when we multiply Kimon's experiences by millions of other youth in this nation, at least in my eyes, we have a national problem of self-identities that are not good for our students. So in 2013, Pilot Ed Schools was created to address this issue of harmful imposed identities. We focus on three things. We focus on the middle school age of children. We focus on an identity-based curriculum. And last, on building a community and not just a school. So follow me with here. We look at urban areas and we notice that there's not a dedicated middle school space. Currently, the kindergarten to 8th grade system is flawed in our eyes. We see that this is a time where the deepest impressions can be had on a young adult's life when a positive influence can mold an identity. So we created a 600-page curriculum focused on that, focused on building healthy identities. From the way we speak to our students to what we expect from them academically and socially, we all as educators need to know that we're breeding leaders. If our students make it to college, it's not that important if they've never seen the world as theirs, if they've never heard their voices empowered, or if they've ever seen themselves as black or brown excellence. And last, I'm going to ask everyone to close your eyes. Don't fall asleep. Close your eyes. Because now you're Kimon and you're at your third school. In Chicago, it's a sunny day in the middle of summer, it's 4 p.m., and you go outside to play basketball with neighborhood boys. And when you turn around and look back at the building, in the first floor windows, you see your mother and other parents smiling, eating at the first floor cafe in your school. And it's at that point that you see the immense power seeping out of the windows, and when you realize that you're not attending a school, but this has become a community hub. Your mom and you reimagine yourselves, you're reimagining your education, and you're reimagining your neighborhood. And open your eyes, please. For the past 2 years as an after-school program, we have sparked reimagination with a group of students. And we've seen our students now go to 93% of them being expected to graduate high school. And we're also seeing an 88% drop in suspensions and detentions at their home schools. And as great as these numbers are, I think it'd be even better to continue this momentum and actually for everyone in this room to join our village. Ask us questions, learn more about our model, or if you move to Chicago next year, you can come work at our first school when we open it on the South Side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Can I hug you? I'm sorry.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, good job, Jacob. And we get us started? Yeah.
There we go. I have so many questions for you. I'm supposed to only ask one, so I'm asking a two-part question.
I can buy you Starbucks.
So as you know, at New Schools, we're committed to funding, between 10 and 20 new schools like yours every year for the next few years. So we're thinking a lot about this. I'm interested in, I know that you had a curriculum focused on identity and you decided rather than have a curriculum play, you were going to start a school. So I applaud you for that. It's hard, hard, hard work. We know that creating identity, integrated identity in young people, as you're describing, is super important. And academics are also still super important for low-income young people. They need to have great grades and great scores, along with so many other things we know they need. Can you talk about the way you envision your school model as the kind of integrated implementation of really high expectations on the academic side, along with the identity creation and building agency the way you're talking about? Super important.
Absolutely, great question. My co-founder Miriam and I have seen over 90 school models like many of you in this room, and every time that we show up at a new school, that's what we see. We see like this amazing high rigor academic program lacking the identity piece, or we see really strong Afrocentric or we've seen a great Native American model in Albuquerque, sometimes maybe lacking really, really rigorous academic standards. And so for us from the onset when we created our curriculum, it was really to look at Common Core, look at best practices such as the Harkness model, I'm sure a lot of us must know in Exeter, but saying, if we can pair that with identity and breed into mathematics class what it means to be a black engineer, or breed into a mathematics class looking at local statistics and understanding statistics through incarceration rates or high school dropout rates, that you can take a hold of your education and also rise to that occasion of a high academic standard.
Yeah, the second part is because you are so identity-based,
right.
It seems to beg for a more personalized approach
Absolutely.
to reaching each kid, because identity is a very personal thing.
Absolutely.
Can you just a couple of sentences about that, how you're thinking about that?
Yeah, definitely. We've been working on creating pods, pilot pods, if you will, which is with different RTI bands and also making sure that we know where our students are at, that we're putting novels in their hand that speak to their identity, but at their level as well. And also in terms of understanding mathematics, when we take an assessment early on in our program at where our students are at in different levels of pre-algebra or other mathematical subjects, that we allow our students to stop for a second while we calculate what the best area in pre-algebra may be for them to sit down in that pod and work through different levels that are appropriate for where they're at.
Jacob, I love the fact that you call out your co-founder Marie and talk about your co-leadership model. Can you really talk about the partnership, the strengths, and how you divide and conquer the work?
Yes, and I wish Marie was actually up here to answer the curriculum question for you, Stacy. We actually early on decided that for everyone in this room, fundraising, when you open all of your schools or programs, fundraising is very important as a nonprofit. And so we were doing fundraising, curriculum development, all of these big things for an organization, and noticed early on that those roles needed to be divided. So in terms of our team, we've also worked with our associate board and also our executive board to get a lot of these things done. When we look at school leadership, ensuring that we have principals that are giving us advice as to what a perfect principal looks like, if there is one. Fundraising is something I do. Marie does curriculum development and teacher training models.
Is there any other questions?
I have one more question.
Yep, one more.
I think the curriculum concept of this is brilliant, and I think we need this in every single school in America, depending on the student population. And so you answered it sort of. Why would you go away from developing this curriculum that could be scaled much more easily across the country than creating one school and then maybe creating another school and maybe creating another school? It's so important, and the impact could be greater faster if you chose a different model for the implementation.
Absolutely, and we actually had a different model. We were an after school and actually an in the school program where we actually had no intentions of opening a charter school. But we started realizing that even having 5 touch points with students every single week did not allow for the transformation that we wanted to see as a unit. And that if we wanted to have that our students needed to live, breathe, and eat everything that was happening in the school building from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. And it was at that point when we had kids for the entire day that we saw families and not just students transform in terms of the way that they think and the way that they look at the world around them. And now that we've kind of seen a lot of different areas and target markets, we're starting to realize that we get this first one right, but we keep our sight on sites 2, 3, 4, 5 in other cities, because imposed identities and issues around identity are not unique to the south side of Chicago, as I'm sure every single person in this room understands. Thank you.
All right. So you've heard 5 bold ideas, 5 great innovators. We're going to invite the judges to collect their notes and thoughts and go ahead and go and deliberate. Just follow Naya here. And while they do that, I would love for you to give your input. And so get out your telephones. And we'll have a screen up here for you. All right. So once you have your phone out, just open up a regular text message. And I'd like for you to text TFA1, doesn't matter if it's cap lock or not, TFA1, not case sensitive, to 22333. So TFA1, and just send it to the telephone number 22333. You'll receive a confirmation text that you've joined our session. And once you do that, you have to make the all-important decision whether or not you would like to vote for A, Tristan Galie for human rights, or B, Colin Seal for Think Law, or C, Candace Smith for Scholar Mecca, or D, Karthic Sura for One Jump, or E, Jacob Allen for Pilot Ed Schools. And while you are mulling over this decision, we're going to give you some think music that hopefully will get you moving. Maybe. Please give me something good. Just the letter. You just text the letter. Yes. If you don't have cell service, is there wireless here? TFA 25. TFA 25 years, all caps, is the Wi-Fi code. Can I dance? I can. Oh, the polls aren't open yet? Yeah, you can dance. Let's turn on music. Let's go. We have time. Don't worry. Deliberate. Think about who you want to vote for. $10,000 is a lot of money for somebody to start and don't play. It's not an easy task. It's open now, I heard. Oh. This is my jam.
Hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, go. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said.
All right, we're going to wrap it up now. Please have a seat. While the judges are deliberating, we have something very special for you. We have 3 social innovators who are are the judges gone kicking ass and taking names across the country, making impact, bold ideas, and I'm one of them. So one of the other ones are my dear, dear friends, and on the stage we're going to have 3 pitches of innovators who are further along, who are not at early stage, who are starting to make some scalable impact across the country, and we want you to hear from them. And first, we will have my dear friend Miriam from an organization called Kinvolved. Please give her a round of applause.
Hi, everybody. You hear me okay? My name is Miriam Malman. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Kinvolved. Every 26 seconds, a student in the United States drops out of high school. That means that over the next 5 minutes, more than 10 students will have dropped out. A recent study by the Gates Foundation found that more than 70% of recent dropouts themselves say the best way to have kept them in school would have been to better communicate and engage with their families. Yet more than half of those dropouts tragically report that their families were never informed with information as basic as whether or not they attended school. This is an issue that really hits home for me. Like, I think almost all of you, I was also a teacher in New York City public schools, where I taught hundreds of students like Alexandra, whom you see here. This is Alexandra's graduation day, and as you can see, I'm beaming from ear to ear because, honestly, 4 years prior, I wasn't actually sure she was going to make it to that day. When Alexandra was in my class in 9th grade, within the first 6 weeks of school, she'd already missed 80% of the school days, and of course, as a result, was failing all of her classes. Now, initially, as an early teacher, I assumed that someone in my school was communicating information, even if it was via a robocalling system, as antiquated as it is, with information with parents when kids were missing school. And I was really frustrated. But when parents like Alexandra's mom started to come into conferences at the end of that first marking period, that was when I realized that my assumption had been really incorrect. It wasn't that parents were choosing to be disengaged and that they had information. It was actually that they, and oftentimes, just simply didn't know information as simple as whether or not their child was coming to school. In Alexandra's case, when her mom and I were able to meet, we were able to form a relationship, and almost instantly, her attendance and her academic performance improved. Of course, you know from this picture that Alexandra did graduate, and I'm happy to say she is now a successful college student in New York City. While this is a great success story, over the course of my time in the classroom, I was not able to effectively reach all of the parents of the more than 120 students whom I taught every single day as a high school teacher. And when I saw Alexandra walk across the stage on her graduation day, I was horrified to see that only half of her colleagues who'd started in her class with me in 9th grade were walking across that stage with her. This was a moment for me when I realized we should not accept the status quo, and we needed to make the efficiency of teachers' ability to communicate information as simple as whether or not a child showed up to school extremely simple. And this is the premise behind Kinvolved. Kinvolved is helping schools and after-school programs nationwide improve student attendance by more efficiently and effectively communicating with families, accessing data on attendance, and looking at trends that inform effective interventions that are actually proving to get kids to come back to school. Just this last fall, currently in our second year of full operation across more than 100 schools, we've seen that 90% of our teachers are reporting that Kinvolved is improving their communication with families, and nearly 3/4 have said that the data available within Kinvolved on attendance is actively informing interventions that is decreasing lateness and improving student attendance in their classrooms. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were very privileged to be covered by the New York Times in the business section. We were honored that we were able to be featured in partnership with Wadley Secondary School. Now, Wadley is one of the schools in New York City which is consistently on the brink of closing because they have so many difficulties. And even in this challenging environment, as you can see from Ms. Covington, we're able to have an impact. In talking to the reporter, Ms. Covington said, this student, talking about one of the students in her class, used to hardly ever see. Now she's one of the first kids to come to class every morning. This is just one of literally hundreds of stories of our impact that we've been able to see in the schools in which Kinvolved is being used across New York City and nationwide. Now, I mentioned we work with about 100 schools now, and we worked really hard to make sure that we can get our model right. Technology isn't going to solve all of the problems with regard to student attendance. We've also ensured that we are providing the accurate training, setup, and support to ensure that schools know what to do with the data once they've started to use the app. Our mission is to expand within 5 years to serve ambitiously half of our nation's schools and half of their students. How can you help? If you're a district leader, a community-based organization leader, a school or an after-school program leader, my colleague Charlotte and I would love to talk to you after the session. You can also find out more by contacting me or looking at our website. Thanks so much for your time.
Good job. Right now, it's Saturday morning. We call it Superhero Saturday. And all across the country, there are thousands of black women and girls who are walking in their neighborhood parks, who are occupying those parks, who are reclaiming the streets of their neighborhoods right now. Merritt Park in Oakland, right now. Prospect Park in Brooklyn, right now. Have their sneakers on. I have my superhero blue shoes on. They are walking for absolute healing to inspire their daughters and to reclaim the streets of their neighborhoods. It's called Girl Trek. Girl Trek is a national health movement of thousands of black women who, in the words of the legendary civil rights icon Fannie Lou Hamer, are sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was a classroom teacher, a history classroom teacher in Atlanta, Georgia, and I heard a statistic that the black girls born in the year 2000, half of them would get diabetes if nothing changed, if the levels of activity and if the diet of these girls did not change, half of them would get diabetes. Those were the girls in my classroom. It was not okay for me. I had no idea what to do. I had no background in healthcare. I had no idea, I didn't even know what public health was. I didn't even know it was a field. All I knew is that if I didn't do something, like right then, I was gonna literally explode. I could not talk about the Civil War anymore when I knew that half of my girls were going to get diabetes. I could not have one more meeting about college preparation when I knew that half of my girls were going to get diabetes. I also knew that every time I called the parents to come and take walks with us, that none of them came because they were working, because they were tired, because they were depressed. And so my co-founder, Vanessa Garrison, said, you know what, you can't just keep taking girls walking or hiking. What if we rallied their mothers to take to the streets and to develop new habits of activity every single day? What if we could convince 1 million black women across the country to make walking in their neighborhoods a habit? What would change? Well, we know health outcomes would change. We know that 4 out of 5 black women are over a healthy weight right now. We know that. We know that. It's hard to talk about, but it exists. 4 out of 5 of the women in my family are over a healthy weight. We know that that is deadlier than cigarette smoking. We know that it's deadlier than HIV/AIDS. We know that it's deadlier than gun violence, and no one's talking about it. We know that that number's only going to rise, obesity statistics. We know that it's mostly caused from a lack of physical activity and diet. And so we want to do something about it. Right now, Girl Trek is 47,000 neighborhood walkers across the country, and we will not stop until we get to 1 million walkers by 2018, and we need every single person in here to help us do it. I just want to tell you about the power of walking, what happens when you walk. You guys know. You know that, first of all, walking is the single most powerful thing you can do for your health. You know that sitting is deadlier than smoking. We know that walking is also historically absolutely relevant in this case, that when black women walk, things have always changed, from the boycotts in Birmingham to Harriet Tubman to when black women walk, we're about to shake something up, and so watch out in Chicago, watch out in Newark, it's about to go down. This happened just a week ago, just last Saturday. Vanessa flew to Chicago. You guys know this dim lighting in somebody's cafeteria somewhere, but I bet you haven't seen this many moms rallied. I bet you haven't seen this many moms ready to take over the streets in their neighborhoods wearing superhero blue because they think they're the heroes of their neighborhoods. And if you look in this picture here, they brought their daughters with them. This is what role modeling looks like. This is what change looks like. This is what a health initiative that is community-led looks like. And I tell you, this is what a movement looks like. And I'm tired of people appropriating the name movement and not moving people to be solution makers of their own problems. And so that's what movement looks like. What we know is that we're at 42,000 strong now. We're going to 1 million. What we know is that we right now are occupying 20 cities, 108 parks across those cities, and that means there's somebody there wearing superhero blue every Saturday morning. You want to know where it is in your neighborhood? Just hit me up. I'll tell you where it is. Buy your shirt. That's going to help us out. That's an easy way for you to support. We know that our impact right now is that 19% of those have created a habit of walking, which means they walk at least 5 days a week, 30 minutes a day, which is a game changer in terms of every health statistic. We know we want to get that number up to 25%. We have work to do. All right, there's some other statistics you can look at it. 61% of our participants have chronic heart disease. This is how you can help. There's no way we're going to go from 40,000 to 1 million without really, really smart people helping us and lining up. It's why I made it my business to know everyone here. That's why I want you guys to get fired up about your venture and to make it your business to know this matters to me, and I need you guys to help us. One, you can rep Girl Trek and Superhero Blue wherever you go. You can buy a shirt. If you don't want to buy it for yourself, buy it for somebody, buy it for your student, buy it for your wife. Buy a shirt, wear Superhero Blue, represent. Number two, you can help us mobilize black women. If you are in a book club with black women, if you have students, if you are a part of the PTA and you know some black women in PTA who need a Girl Trek walking team because you need them to do something else to get on your nerves, bring them to me. Bring them to me. We'll start a walking team. If you have access, if you are in a sorority, if you are a member of a church with black women, please, please bring them to us because black women lead every statistic and are dying faster and at higher rates than anybody else. And if we can solve for the ones in greatest need, we can solve for everyone in the country. So please help us do this and start a movement. Last, you can sponsor a city. If you are in Oakland, if you are in Gary, if you are in Flint, if you are in Fort Lauderdale, and you care deeply about your city, and you have some money to spare, help us sponsor a city. What that means is that we go into the city and we train neighborhood organizers to start neighborhood teams, to be city captains, to be recruiters, to be fitness instructors, to be outdoor trip leaders leading hikes up mountains. We train them to do it. It's easy to do. We're very good at doing it, and we do it for very cheap. Those are the ways that you can help. Now listen, these are the cities that we're about to take over in 2016. Be ready. Look, when you see Superhero Blue, go, hey, Girl Trek, honk for us. We are taking over these cities. The cities in red, we're already there. We're already there. You go to the park, say hi, because they'll say hi back to you. Tell them you saw me at Teach for America. They'll be like, hey, Morgan. All right. This is where you need to hit us up now. It's one small action you can take. At Girl Trek, you can hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, Girl Trek Healthy Black Women and Girls, and you can email me with all of your bold ideas of how we can get better. Thank you so much.
Can you hear me all? All right, so I recognize I have the dubious responsibility of starting when this thing is ending. But I ask you for just a few minutes to give the students in this organization your spare moments. So 9 years ago, I was in this classroom that you're going to see in a second. I was a 6th grade teacher at O'Keefe Elementary. In March of that year, in this beloved community, this is Monarchy and Tribeca, we were doing well. We'd just gotten our state exams back, and in both math and reading, my students had crushed it. We'd exceeded state standards, we had blown the significant gains goal out of the water, and more importantly, every single kid in my classroom had met or exceeded their individualized goal. Parents and guardians in my classroom were fully engaged. There was very little division between home life and classroom life. And high expectations permeated what we talked about. We talked about college and university. We wrote goals about where we wanted to be when we were 25 years old, and we were on it. I felt like we were actually closing the achievement gap. Or so I thought. A few weeks later, on a freezing Friday morning in April of 2006, I got out of bed, I got ready for school, I walked downstairs, and as I was about to walk into my car, I picked up a newspaper, and this is what it said. It was the first major study in any metropolitan area that had produced a college completion rate for an entire city. At the time, it said that 6% of 400,000 kids would graduate college on time. Now, 10 years later, 6%, 8%, 9%, 10%, it's common knowledge across the movement. At the time, it was absolutely shocking. If you had asked me the day before, how many of your kids do you think are going to complete college? I would have looked at you with a straight face. I would have said 80, maybe 85%. And the reason I said 85 was because I thought I was being realistic. The reality was I actually fully believed 100% of my kids would complete college until that morning. I remember walking through my classroom in between aisles during silent reading, and I was trying to pick out which 2 of my 32 kids would complete college, which 2 of my 32 students would have any chance at entering the middle class in this country, and which 2 of my kids would actually achieve what they had written down 4 weeks earlier about where they wanted to be on their 25th birthday. 2. To say that this was the worst day in my professional career would be a massive understatement. It fundamentally and totally changed my life. Less than a year later, I and a couple other folks had started a new organization called One Goal to systematically, radically change that statistic and that reality forever. And we did what most early stage entrepreneurs do. We obsessed. We learned, we listened, and we talked to others. And we noticed a few big things. We looked at 800 organizations that were trying to radically change the college completion puzzle, and we saw amazing, inspiring work. But the needle hadn't moved, and here was why. Number one, you could categorize every single one of the 800 interventions as either really effective or really scalable. When we asked why, the primary reason was number 2. Those who were most proximate to the issue were not actually engaged in the effort of changing college persistence rates. And number 3 is what happened because of it. Any kid in a poor neighborhood who was moderately performing academically or otherwise was left out of the puzzle. Those who were extraordinarily talented were actually making it through, but that was it. So we started this organization called One Goal to try to do that, systematically change from the beginning, leverage those most proximate, and design a model that would work for every single student. The model is incredibly simple. We identify hundreds of really effective teachers that are already teaching outcomes or teaching high school throughout the United States. Those folks who actually have built instructional practice that is working. For 40 minutes every single day of junior year and 40 minutes every single day of senior year, those great teachers teach our content to cohorts of students. During freshman year of college, the teacher, the students, and all of the content move online. And an exceptional teacher is tracking and coaching students through the first day of sophomore year. And it works. 84% of our students have enrolled in college on time over the last 8.5 years. And more importantly, of those who have actually showed up, 77% of our students have either graduated or are still in college. And this isn't some nice little charity in the south side of Chicago. So by the end of this year, we'll be serving 10,000 kids a year across 5 states. But more importantly, by next summer, we are writing the next strategic plan. With minor adjustments in how we scale, we could reach 100,000 students a year within the next 6 or 7 years. If we can maintain anywhere close to the outcomes of the first few cohorts at that type of scale, One Goal will directly move college completion rates in the United States, directly. Last year, the president was asked in a convening, what do you think needs to scale to change higher education in America? And he talked about One Goal. And really specifically, he talked about this kid, Caleb, who was a freshman in college in Chicago. He was a kid who had been written off, and during his freshman year, when the president spoke about him, he had a 3.9 GPA. And the rhetorical question that the president asked was, what would happen in this country if every single young person like Caleb who deserved a college degree actually got one? Well, Mr. President, we intend to find that out. Thank you.
Well, Mr. President. All right. So the most important thing you will hear tonight is what I'm about to say. You guys, I hope, are inspired. I'm so inspired by what happened today. Maybe you have a bold idea, something that keeps you up at night, that you want to solve, that you feel uniquely positioned to solve, and you're passionate about it. You may not have piloted it. You might not have even written anything down about it yet. It's completely fresh in your head. Maybe you just came up with it right now. You guys have 9 days. 9 days to write a compelling something. When you texted your vote, you got an email back that is the website. Go on the website and consider applying because we need you guys out there innovating. So that's my last plug for that. I really believe it. I really believe it. And if you're interested, I'm going to call some people who you should hit up after this. Naya Bloom, please stand up. Naya, this is Naya. Dar Vanderbeck, where are you, Dar? Carmenia Munez and Carmen Cortez are the team behind this today. Give them a big round of applause. And like one of the sharks told me, you have 60 seconds to pitch them after this. Hurry up and go talk to them. All right, and without further ado, we are going to announce the winner. Drum roll, please. All of your tallies were put up, and we have Maxine Clark.
Incredibly hard work, and your presentations were fantastic. You are absolutely all winners. So thank you, Jacob Allen, Pilot Ed Schools, Tristan Galie, Human Rights, Colin Seal, Think Law, Candace Smith, Scholar Mecca, and Karthic Sura, One Jump. These all ideas were incredible. Woo! And I said it, but you all are winners, and I want you to keep moving forward. Today we have one winner, but I want you all to know in the audience that all of these candidates are automatically moved to the second round of the Social Innovation Award, so hopefully they'll do well there. And now the drum roll. The judges and the audience all supported this decision that I'm about to say, and the winner of this Shark Tank Award is Colin Seal, Think Law. Colin, as you can see, was an impassioned leader. He identified a need that we all know is very important, and he created a curriculum, and he has the early results that show us he should keep moving forward. Congratulations, Colin.
You take it by yourself.
Got it?